that Mr. Molefe had resigned from ESCO. And we understood that Mr. Molefe has now left and is gone. That was our understanding. When the paperwork came to board, the paperwork read early retirement. And that gives very good clarity as to where you picked up the resigned from and where you picked up the early retirement from. The paperwork then followed its process. There's the ESCOM pension fund involved in this discussion. It remains completely neutral. It's an issue between employer and employee, and the paperwork followed its trail. Very clear. Mr. Molefe's return to ESCO. When the paperwork was processed by the ESCOM pension fund, and unknown to us what the quantum was, it was publicly stated that the value was 30-odd million rands, which our minister at that point duly declined. Now, you interrupted me earlier on a very important point that I was going to make. When Minister Brown had said to me, you will remain as non-executive directors and not go into the machine, I then said to Minister Brown, the buck stops here. We as the board will make the decisions for ESCO. We are the accountable accounting authority for ESCO. And therefore, Minister Brown will keep saying to you, I didn't know. I didn't know about this till the last minute or to when I saw it in the press. It's for that very reason. I only met Minister Brown, I think, on 3 or 4 occasions. One at induction, once at the annual general meeting in 2015, once at the annual general meeting last year, today. That's the only time I see Minister Brown. We have no communication whatsoever with the shareholder. All communication is via the chairman. Second point, and you disturbed me earlier. The chairman does not sit on any of our committees. None of the committees. He wasn't chairman at that time when he sat on my Build and Recovery Committee. He was an ordinary member. Zoldo Sotsi was chairman. I'm giving you the clarity and the documentation is there. Chairman Benegubani never participates in any of our committees. We'll give you all the records and you can take it. It's all available. On Molefe's return to ESCO. Yes, we understood Molefe is gone. Therefore, the process of advertising for the chief executive had commenced. Certainly. Because our understanding is gone. Very clear. We started the process, it was advertised, the recruitment agency was appointed, we met with them, we received the shortlisted candidates, that process was continuing. And that process was halted when Minister Brown declined the 30 million pension fund payout to Molefe. Very simple. And we said to ourselves, put that process on hold till we understand further what we do. And the shareholder representative had said to us that your decision to award him a pension fund needs to be reviewed. We sat down, we looked at the review of it. And we came up with the conclusion that we have 2 choices. Rescind the decision, and with that goes 2 consequences. He either resigns or he returns to work. Very simple. Very simple. We debated it. We sought legal advice. We sought audit advice. And we prepared our case in terms of meeting our stakeholders, the customers, and to explain to them why we had to go that path. There's the information. Very clear. Thank you. On the next question, have I got any relationship with Oak Bay? The answer is no, absolutely no, none. Since you've asked the question on Oak Bay, let me talk about Glencore. The Glencore discussion started at Eskom board long before Mr. Molefe arrived. We were approached, but before I explain that, Glencore owns the optimum contract that supplies, when we say coal, it's not coal, it's the ground, literally the ground. This has been a design that goes back 50 years. The boilers were specially prepared to receive the ground at Hendrina. They're 200 megawatt units, and there's 10 of them. The Eskom super thermal stations are 600 megawatts, and there's 6 of them, and they use a very different grade of, that's probably coal. This ground has got no value, absolutely no value, to anybody anywhere in the world, neither to a neighboring power station. It can only be burnt and used or employed at Hendrina. When we received the request from, and sorry, that contract was expiring or is expiring in 2018. When we received the request from management came with that request. Glencore wants more money for this ground. And there's a clause in that contract called hardship. When the power station was initially built, the contracts are put in place, so they're long-term contracts, 50-year contracts. There's a clause there that says if you've got hardship, you can come and plead hardship. And that's exactly the clause they invoked, and they came to plead hardship. And I was on the board committee that said to them, Glencore, just as you've got hardship, we also got hardship. Declined. Goodbye. We're not paying any more money for that coal. And the low price of the coal, of Eskom's coal, is the reason why Eskom promoted world's lowest cost energy, and we became the world leader in that. And we want to go back to that position. And that is the reason, sir, I was giving you those primary energy numbers right at the beginning. Eskom is all about coal. We convert coal into electrical energy. The price of coal determines the price of electricity to our customers. And we've got to do everything in our power to make sure that those contracts are not on a runaway. We've got to contain them. And Glencore was very smart to come and ask for a price increase, knowing that the contract's expiring in 2018. So they'll set a new base price for the next 30-year period going forward. So now customers would need to pay that higher price for the next 30-year period. And we were adamant. And they said to us, we will throw in the towel and we'll declare business rescue. The consequences thereof being loss of jobs, but most importantly, in the load shedding scenario, loss of production. We had our contingency plans and we were confident. And we weren't buying the hostage situation of loss of production. That is the Glencore issue. We've got no relationship with Glencore or with anyone. It was straightforward supplier-customer communications, and that was the conversation that we had all the time. Let me stop there.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.